Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha.
All right, well, we are exploring this book, following in the Buddha's footsteps. Last week, I think we had a pretty rich conversation on pretty much just a couple paragraphs, but I think they're the core of really the Buddhist whole teaching about why we suffer. So kind of made a lot of sense to spend quite a bit of time there. Something to do with attachment, could be an issue in our lives. I'm going to pop this out. Yeah, context. Let's start with that. Context. I'm going to set the screen here real quick. Okay. So in the path of liberation, the Noble Eightfold Path, there's 3 categories. And in these 3 categories are basically the methods to be free of suffering. And so they're ethics, concentration, and wisdom. So we talked quite a bit about ethics and the refuge that one would take and what we can depend upon, what brings freedom, what brings suffering. And concentration is this next one, the practice of shamatha, the ability to develop the mind, that I can be present if I'm attending to something, my mind's not traipsing off. It's a rather common affliction. May have noticed it during your meditation. And so the ability to develop presence, attention, directing attention where we choose to rest in calm abiding, a practice of developing the mind so that we can use it in a healthy, meaningful way. And within the context of meditation practice, we'll find that there's 5 main hindrances that prevent us from succeeding. There's these hindrances. And last week we talked about how these 5 show up in our daily lives. So it's not simply that I go to meditate and these hindrances show up, but rather they're showing up all the time. And there's antidotes to them. It's good to be aware of them. The first hindrance is sensual desire. So things that are desires, to the senses. Colorado donuts was one that I was involved with this morning. And so we had family up yesterday, and they spent the night. And my son-in-law, informed. Well, actually, my daughter and son-in-law, and the kids, grandkids, everybody. They're like, Colorado donuts, like that's we're doing that. They do it every year. They come out, and my son-in-law says, it's nice that you guys make it available for us to stay somewhere where we can get donuts, but I'm really here for the donuts. And my daughter's like, well, I'm here for you, Dad. So I got one on my side. And you think about the things that we get, that we crave, things that show up. And these can be very subtle desires, very subtle impulses. They can be pretty strong ones. And the craving that shows up and the desires to avoid something. A lot of people don't realize avoidance is a desire. It's a strong desire to not have that happen. And so throughout our day, we could have the best of intentions to do this or to do that or to have this kind of attitude. And then, but this interesting thing shows up or that thing shows up or this distraction. And the mind's always seeking novelty, something interesting, something different, something, this whole mind-body experience that we have operates on a reward system. right? Dopamine and serotonin, all the neurochemicals and what feels good, what I'm interested in. And it's really hard to do something that I don't want to do, even if it's a simple thing. It's amazing how real simple things we could, build up and have a lot of resistance to doing. And then when we notice things, we might notice that almost everything's pretty simple. I mean, that's pretty fascinating to me. It's like as I started recognizing all the like had a hard day. Well, what was hard about it? Well, I didn't want to do a lot of things. I didn't want to talk to a lot of people. I didn't want things to go a particular way. But the things themselves weren't so bad. I didn't get stuck. We were talking about a guy in Utah got stuck with that boulder that pinned his arm, and he was stuck up there for like 4 days. That's a hard day, you know. And but generally, if we're just present with what we're doing generally is not very difficult. You're driving, doing some work on a computer, uh, talking to another human being. Maybe you're mowing the yard. When you go through your day, what's hard about it? A long, hard day. Often it's a lot of things happen you didn't want to happen. I'd rather be doing something else. Um, I think things should be different than they are. All of that's mental. None of that's the hard day. And it's like, wow. Start realizing that my attachments, how things should be, what I'd like to, feel good about, what gives me joy, and what's interesting, really are driving my experience and creating either a lot of joy, a lot of suffering, a lot of things in between, and I'm not even able to enjoy just sitting having a cup of tea in the morning because the mind's going with all the things that have to happen or I'd like to have happen or I worry may happen. And that's where the practice of shamatha, the ability to tame the mind, is just critical. So if someone were able to develop shamatha, to work through at least some of the higher levels of shamatha, these hindrances go away. You won't have the distraction of sensual desires. You won't have ill will. You won't have lethargy, and you won't have restlessness or doubt. Like a stable mind, those things. It actually, if you go all the way through shamatha, these hindrances are gone. It's actually the antidote to all these hindrances. But most of us have not achieved that yet. So we have these little antidotes to the hindrances, which help us be more present. So there's a real strong balance between developing a practice of shamatha, a practice of calm abiding that we just did a 15-minute shamatha practice. So regularly, consistently developing a meditation practice that gives me some capacity to have presence so I can make a choice. I can be aware of desires. I can be aware of these afflictive states so I can know that they come and they go and I don't have to act on them. Then maybe it wasn't such a hard day. Maybe it was just a day I did some stuff. And hopefully it was, helpful, beneficial to the life I'd like to live. But in that process, what we'll find is how much of our stress, worry, fear, tension is just coming from craving something to be this way and not to be that way. Desire. And it's subtle and sneaky. And then it's obvious sometimes. Really strong, compulsive behaviors. Habits that pop up, that you're trying to quit. And with that in mind, I highlighted the sentence, which, we talked about last week, but I just think it is the antidote. It is the answer. As remembering the impermanent and unsatisfactory nature of desirable object or person is helpful to subdue the urge to grasp it in order to fill the void, boredom, or loneliness inside of us. And so whenever you have a compulsion, a desire, this, what I want, so I don't want this one, you're going to notice there's strong attachments there, that this is the source of my happiness. This is what's going to really make it okay for me. And, we have attachments. Laura built the house we get to live in with her own hands, designed it, built it, put a lot of heart into that, right? We have attachments with our kids, children. Things that we've, created, things that we like. We have simple things, foods, things of that nature, lifestyle, all these attachments. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying and appreciating them, honoring them. Matter of fact, that's valuable. But then the exaggerated qualities that this is the source of my happiness, or I need this to be happy, couldn't possibly be okay if I didn't have that. Which brings you into the realm of love songs. Man, there's not a healthy love song I've ever found. You ever that? I just can't live without you. And, this is one country song on, that he'll leave a light on for. It's like 20 years, man. Lights are on for 20 years. And his driveway is lit up. Everything's lit, just hoping she's going to show up one day, And, it's touching. It's a nice song. But, we romanticize the objects. We attach to them and can't imagine not having them in our lives. And then our jobs, and things we do, our towns, the way the towns are, heaven forbid our town changes, And things are changing all the time, and believe it or not, many of the things we thought we couldn't live without, we're living without. And therein lies all this huge root cause of suffering. The things that I think will bring me joy are actually the source of my suffering, my stress, my worry, my fears. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be like this. And so when we come back to the statement here, it says, let's get realistic. Basically, that's what it says. Remembering the impermanent and unsatisfactory nature of the desirable object, person, whatever the object is that we're fixated on. And so taking some time to recognize its impermanent nature and even the impermanent nature of the joy it can bring you, right? Anybody who still has a flip phone might be not so thrilled about it anymore when they can have whatever model newest phones are. I don't do iPhones, Laura does. What's the latest iPhone? Anybody know?
17. Yeah, I don't know.
17. Yeah, something like that. Compared to a flip phone. But again, a flip phone once. I think I had a Razor flip phone. I thought that was a pretty good one. So even this thing that was once really wonderful, after a while, it's not even something I'm interested in. There's something else. So impermanence, right, in that way. There's impermanence in the sense of Colorado donuts. First one was awesome. Actually, halfway through the second one, it was getting kind of like, man, this is too much sugar. So even that joy, right? It's you can't eat more and you get happier. You eat more and you get unhappy. The impermanent nature and the unsatisfactoriness is this really bringing you joy, or is it not able to satisfy that craving, that desire? Is it able to really grant you that sense of well-being and inner peace that you seek? Or is it only offering a temporary stimulus-driven pleasure that will come and go, and I'll be seeking something else? And then worried about it. Is it causing stress or worry? to causing joy, appreciation. And so when we reflect on these things about whatever it is, we also start to notice an elaborative process. Right, an elaborative process. Now, if we really start with just our base level of consciousness, I'm here, there's consciousness. As I tend to and I look up, I see people, and then so there's shapes and so forth. And then I start noticing I fill you in with all the details. And I elaborate what kind of person you are, and I fill in these details and whether I like or don't like, or this person's like that. But I'm filling in all the details. But what's really happening is a whole bunch of sense consciousnesses. I've got the eyes, ears, I have my consciousness of experience. All of this data is coming in. And then my mind configures it, and I see you, and I start filling in, elaborating the qualities about you and the things about you. And then I think how I perceive you is how you are. And then you're either causing me some joy or some pain or something in between, or not that interesting, or you might be boring, or you might be funny. And I attribute all those qualities to you. Instead of recognizing, I'm just elaborating. I have just feelings that might feel good or not so good. There's a bandwidth. And as I elaborate, I assign labels, and I assign these qualities, and then those people, places, things that I'm experiencing. I think that's how the world is. But when we get back to just how elaboration works, and I like to use the example of Hawaii. I've been to Hawaii a few times, and man, it's nice to be in Hawaii. It's temperature always seems good. You can wear shorts and flip-flops every day. There's not, it's pretty, temperate. There's water's warm. It's beautiful. Yeah, there's some roosters and chickens all over Kauai, and they make a lot of noise. But other than that, pretty sweet. And then people will spend a whole life wanting to get to Hawaii, or hoping to get to Hawaii, or they've been to Hawaii and now they can't wait to get back to Hawaii. Right? Feels good. Go to Hawaii. Hopefully, I'm not building a lot of attachment to all of you that are craving now to go to Kauai, which, by the way, is the Garden Island. Quite beautiful. Recommend the North Beaches. So when you're in Hawaii, the question is, and you're on a beach, and it's nice temperature, and you have a feeling. Is that feeling any different than a feeling you can have on your front porch, in your own house, in front of your own house, on a nice day, the breeze blowing, with a Colorado donut, cup of coffee in the morning? The sensation you might find is the same sensation. But I often will think I need to go to Hawaii to get it. And it's already here and available. And so we're really starting to understand the impermanent nature of even a trip to Hawaii. Is that satisfactory or not satisfactory? Does it leave you with wanting to go back to Hawaii? Or sometimes people don't have a great trip to Hawaii. It does happen. Accidents happen, flight delays happen, all these things. But all of that, when we look at it, we're going to find that the mind is involved here. And it's attributing value and qualities to things, and including the things I don't like, right? And could be in traffic in Hawaii, be upset. In a car, in a beautiful place. So if one were to take time and notice certain things that we crave that come up quite a bit, quite frequently, and recognize, has it ever quenched your craving? That would be impermanence. Has it ever quenched your craving? What happened? How long did it last? Did it feel good for how long? And we may notice, wow, wonderful experience. Enjoyed it, but it didn't last. I got upset about something else or worried about something or just forgot about it and got involved with something else. So taking time to notice the elaborative process, to notice the impermanence and the grasping, the clinging, the unsatisfactoriness, the things that we think will bring us this happiness that actually often create our cravings and our desires, our inability to be at peace. It's a profound antidote if we can go deeply to recognize that. And then, as we talked about last week, then the opportunity shows up to deeply appreciate whatever's in front of you, including a trip to Hawaii or whatever you're doing, that this can be deeply meaningful. And to, we just had kids and grandkids at the house, and, to watch everyone playing with the little mirror, and joy on Laura's face as she's filming everything, and family coming in. It's just rich, right? It's very rich. We get to do that. But the more attached we are to it, then there's stress about, how's everybody going to get along? What's this going to happen? How do we set? Anybody planning a wedding knows about that, right? Who do we invite? What if they like this? People get very, stressed instead of, we're getting married. Let's celebrate the joy of two people. Some people celebrate their divorce. They have a lot of fun with that. It's, the mind, very interesting how we engage in the world. But we're going to find that this is the just primary driver, right? 8 worldly concerns: gain, loss, pain, pleasure, praise, criticism, good reputation, bad reputation, just driving forces, as though these things will provide us with the happiness we seek. And we don't recognize it's not those things and events, it's how we engage with them, the meaning we bring to them, the virtue that we have with them. We feel good about who we are. So that one sentence there, to meditate on the impermanent and unsatisfactory nature of that which I'm craving. We talked about identifying the biggest thing first. And that's a whole practice right there. What's the biggest craving, attachment, compulsion, habit that pops up in my life that's actually preventing me from being who I want to be? And taking some time to notice when it comes up, to apply this meditation to it, to look deeply at it, and ask some serious questions. Could I live without that? People have their own homes taken away, fires, tornadoes. And my brother lives in Altadena, those fires that just took out that whole city. His house, his block was okay. Shocking, but just devastation, So many people lost their house. Matter of fact, I don't know if she's here tonight. We got a dear friend here. Is she waving? Okay. Paradise, lived in Paradise. That whole town went up. She survived that, had to drive out with flames all around and the whole thing, and a lot to walk through. But I'm sure she's still capable of finding joy and happiness. She's quite an incredible human being. Wonderful to have her here. So there's all these things that we couldn't imagine being happy without that do happen, and we are capable. But the imagination of the mind of how incomprehensible life would be without this, or what I really need to be happy shows up, and it becomes the just primary driver of obstacles. And the mind body, so it knows what to do to feel good, easy, quick, fast. And so there's this training that takes place, and that's the opportunity to train the mind, the body. So, we have the chemicals and the wiring, and this mind body's been learning from an early, I'd say from time, beginningless time, has been learning what feels good, what doesn't feel good, what tastes good, what doesn't, what people I like. It knows how to feel good. It even knows, when a smell comes up, wow, reminds you of something, and maybe I can go get that thing. And it's operating at this subconscious level at all times. And we don't have a choice in that process because it's just operating. That's why we are reactive, or emotions come up and we say things we regret. That's why we say things to people we love that are harmful. You think, well, what's the old saying? That wasn't me. And I'm sitting there thinking, I think it was. Pretty sure it was. I wasn't myself today. Yes, I wasn't myself. Well, who were you? You're the, and then these things come up, we don't really have much control over it because it's been conditioned, and it's operating on really this reward aversion system. And so now, as we bring some executive function into the process, some thinking, some clarity, some wisdom, so that deeper thing, could I live without this? Yeah, you could live without this. Do I need this to be happy? Or, matter of fact, what do I need to not do to be happy? How do I simplify and we start probing deeply. What happens is our intelligence often totally gets it. Oh yeah, I get this. It makes total sense to me. And then we walk out the door, and then the mind body just does what it does. And I can't think myself into acting in these ways that are healthy because the mind body is, just so well trained. So gradually taking some time and taking steps to integrate more skillfully activities that you're going to feel good about, that are more lasting and fulfilling, and allowing that reward system to become available. And then the mind body starts going, oh, well, it actually is, I didn't need that. This is pretty good. I can enjoy a cup of coffee on my own front porch in a house I get to live in a town that's nice. And I start having this very unusual word. It's called contentment. I just saved you $8,000. You don't have to go to Hawaii. Okay. And you just sit on your own front porch. And we are surrounded by abundance, The lives that we have are just so full, so, push of the button, turn up the heat. So much that we, don't spend much time because the mind's looking for something else. So taking a little time for gratitude and contentment, and if you can identify one thing, the main thing, that is propping up again and again, and recognize how it is actually undermining your happiness. It's unsatisfactory. It's impermanent. I can feel this feeling. It will come and it will go. They call it urge surfing. Urge surfing. You can have this strong impulse, desire to do something, and I can just know that its sensations, its feelings, it will come and it will fade. Like no feeling, no sensation will ever last. When you're in it, it's hard to imagine that. But with some stability, you can actually have the experience, the desires come and they go, and you just ride it out. And I'm attending to something else. But it does require this gentle process, taking time to do the healthier thing, to allow yourself the reward, to let the mind body go, this is better, that's nicer. And to notice the challenge if I act out that way versus if I do this. And then over time, what happens is the mind body starts working with us in this really meaningful way, with us actually having an opportunity about the choices we make. And we're working together instead of, actually it should be like that, right? That doesn't work. It's this, yeah. And then, we have this harmony that's available. But the tendency to say, I'm just going to be like this from now on, that's fighting. It's going to be too hard. It's good to make a commitment, do my best to be like that, take small steps in a direction. And but allow a process to take place. And then the other fun discussion we've had in the past, which comes up, is how to just fully enjoy and have fun without worry about being attached. It's great, enjoy, have a good time. It won't last. And when it's real terrible, don't worry about it. It won't last. Could be an opportunity to grow. So having that balance with equanimity. So that was the introduction. So anybody, any thoughts on that before we can kind of move into the second? Okay. All right. Well,
I'm scared.
what's that?
Oh, I'm approaching.
All right.
So when you were talking about, can you have the same sensation of enjoyment, contentment, sitting on a beach in Hawaii or sitting on your front porch? Yes, I have experienced similar levels of contentment, but what I don't think I've experienced sitting on my front porch is the endorphin rush or the dopamine hit of novelty.
Uh-huh.
Also, being a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, it's the same applies there.
Mm-hmm.
There's that sort of rush of novelty and um, intensity.
Mm-hmm.
I doing those activities like traveling and doing crazy, sports stuff. To me, there is that one thing that I don't feel sitting on my front porch.
Right. And there's a big difference between serenity and endorphin rushes, right? And
Yeah, probably.
yeah. And that therein lies what actually becomes, an afflictive state. There's nothing wrong with, occasional, of course, endorphin kicks and some adrenaline, and certainly novelty is nice. But novelty you'll find is capable on your front porch actually. But what happens then is chasing the endorphin rush becomes an afflictive state, right? It becomes something that's taken me away from a sense of balance and clarity. And just like the afflictive states that are angry, frustration, chasing the intense, pleasurable endorphins or dopamine and so forth to an exaggerated sense, right? Not to within the realm of it's nice to have a sense of flow and do things that are, fill that body up, and it's nice. But then we're back to, is it unsaturated? Is it taking you away from, or am I, like Laura used to be a skydiver, and what was it like on Wednesdays? You're already jonesing for, when's the next jump on Saturday, right? And now, the craving and all of that, which is taking us away from the life. So that's where we get into where it becomes afflictive, is when there's a sense of craving, a sense of dependency, a sense of seeking novelty, that you need a little bit more and a little bit different. Now I'm defining the characteristics of being an addict. And then there's no capacity when those characteristics of us just making healthier choices, because the craving, the compulsions, the seeking novelty beyond, like by novelty, I mean, what's the state you get when your dependence levels, you get used to a certain level of alcohol or drugs. What's that called? Tolerance. You have certain tolerance. So you're seeking the next sort of thing, so compulsions tend to seek like the next thing. So I wouldn't compare, obviously, say on my front porch with serotonin and peace and contentment with adrenaline and doing those other things. But then we're just back to, is it offering you, the capacity in your life that's fulfilling and meaningful? And am I not doing something important to go do this? But maybe all the needs are taken care of and we're off having a great bike ride and doing, whatever we're doing. And again, so it's, where's the mind with the attachment or the craving? Not that, and then, what happens in your life if you can't do those things? The body gives out. Body's not capable of doing those things, right? Is my mind attaching all my identity and happiness to these things I get to do? Or can I just enjoy them because my body can do it now, and that's wonderful? You seeing the balance in those things?
Yeah, I'm still more so the traveling, I think for me, there's just a certain quality about experiencing new things that I just, and yeah, I can see that it is maybe a little bit of an addiction, but there's just something very special about experiencing new things and new places.
Yeah, and if you have money and resources, go travel. It's only when it becomes detrimental. You see, it's not that you shouldn't go to Hawaii or go to Italy. As a matter of fact, we were having long chats about Italy and recently, and we were just talking about Japan. I've never been to Japan, and there's so much richness in culture and travel. But if you don't have any money and you're putting all your money on a credit card to go travel, to go do something, and then you won't have, then that would be problematic, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be unfortunate.
Yeah. So that's where we are working with worldly things that it can be quite meaningful, and especially when you travel. For example, I was talking to my son-in-law, still a trip to Greece when they're going through, their big economic issues, and how wonderful it was you could go to Greece and provide income, right? To, they're really hoping to get tourism, get some money going, and he picks the country. It's beautiful, wonderful, had a great vacation. He's also contributing to the economy, and you're doing things like that. So the takeaway here is not to go do, not to enjoy the world or travel or to do things. It's remembering why you're doing them. Am I exaggerating qualities? Is it taking me away from what is fulfilling in life, or is it adding to the quality of my life? The process of engaging in as you travel, great opportunities to learn and see people, understand things that we don't do here in our culture, and lots of opportunities there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think with everything I do anymore these days, there's much more of a sense of how I fit in or how I belong or what I contribute to those activities. So it's definitely been a growth point for me for all of those anything I engage in anymore. So
Yeah. And back to the main point that was being made on elaboration was we were comparing a sense of contentment that one can feel on a beach or at home. You might discover you'll find a sense of novelty and wonder that's equal to some of the novelty and wonder in other things that you do. It's the sensations that we can recognize.
thank you.
You're welcome. We're just not comparing apples and oranges. Yeah. All right, Roxana.
Hi, you can hear me?
Yep.
Um, what I'm thinking about today is that a friend of mine is actively dying, and the ambulance took him away to Valley View this afternoon, and he may already be dead, but um, I haven't been able to talk to him or see him uh, in about 3 months. And one of the last times I saw him, I gave him a hug, and he talked about how he really needed that because he already had the cancer diagnosis. Um, but I've been in a weird space because I know that I probably will never see him again, or talk to him, or give him a hug. Uh, his birthday is Friday. He's going to be 76. And so I'm just feeling weird. Um, I've never been in a position like this uh, where I can't be supportive. I mean, I've done prayers and that kind of thing, but um, I can't really let him know how many people love him and miss him and appreciate him and all of this stuff. So I'm just feeling weird. I'm just kind of empty.
Mm,
Uh, and I know that he's not going to be in my life anymore, and he has been for the last 7 years. So,
mm.
um, it's weird.
Yeah, so sorry for your loss too. And what a gift it is that the last time you saw him, you gave him that hug that he needed.
Yeah, it's
That's
memorable for sure.
yeah, that's so important. That opportunity, if we could, it's brought up in some of the teachings. See everyone that we meet today as though they may not be here tomorrow. How would you treat them? It's a really good reminder of that.
Hmm.
Yeah. But what I'm hearing is the sense of powerlessness that you'd love to be able to offer him more and you're not capable of letting him know how many people love and care about him.
Hmm.
Yeah. And being on terms with that. Um, and that's a sample of just your love and care that you'd like to offer.
Hmm.
It's a rich thing.
I talked with a variety of people who knew him and appreciated that he walked her dog, or he helped her deliver lunches, or he went hiking. with this other person and, you know, did all this stuff. I mean, he lifted weights and he would hike for 4 or 5 miles and uh, he was very athletic, riding
Hmm.
bikes and bam, all of a sudden he got a cancer diagnosis. So downhill from there.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds like an amazing person now.
Yeah, he was very well loved and cared for by a lot of people.
Yeah. The thing that has always helped me in such situations, I've lost many people in my life, and even at early ages, which is to recognize that there's a statement you said he's not going to be in your life, and in fact, of course, he'll still be in your life every time you think of him. And yeah, I think of how everything that I know is because of others, and the things I get to do is because of people who've helped me and mentored me. And, as people have passed in my life, I get to recognize how they've impacted on my life. And that's how they live through me. They live on through all the people they touch. They lives on through all the people whose dogs he walked, all the people he's helped, all the things they contributed to. We don't go away in that sense. We live on in the inspiration people have gotten from our interactions or things that we've done and things that we've created that other people have enjoyed. And, so much of who I think I show up as is, so much of my mom's alive in me. And of course, things of my father and people have helped me and mentored me. And I remember a person dying in my life who's very important. And I was in a real fragile state. I couldn't imagine. I was 1 year sober, so that was 40 years ago. And it just wrecked me. And I'm alone with him in a coffin in a viewing room. And I just wanted to be like 1% of the human being that he was, I told him, man, if I can bring just a small amount of what you brought to my life into the world, my life will be meaningful, you know. And so as people pass and as he passed, he impacted my life and lives through me in those ways. Um, so I think it's nice to remember reality in the sense that we're really not so independent, we're interdependent, and our dear friends, our loved ones, people that have helped us, they don't die. They're actually in the words we use today, the things we do today. They live on through us. So anyway, I find that helpful in my life.
That's really great. Thank you, John.
You're welcome. You can also thank Hugh Yates. That was his name. Yeah. Last time I saw him, he had me laughing. And yeah, alive, I mean. Yeah. Yeah. So a real opportunity then we have is to treasure the days that we have. And how much does craving take us away from appreciating, being present with what we do have? And in the context of the five hindrances, sensual desire is only a problem when it is driving us away from the choices that we can make that are based in virtue, loving kindness, good use of our life. Other than that, of course, we have normal sensual desires, right? And food and exercise and things that, bring enjoyment and all these things can be quite well. It's the elaborative process where we attach and exaggerate quality to that thing that then starts overriding our ability to just make the healthy choice, regardless of the sensation or feeling that's arising. That's where this lands. All right, so that's probably a good place to wrap up. Next week, we'll get to malice and ill will. Yeah, malice and ill will. That's the next one. Which you'll see has a lot to do with attachment and aversion. So that was one of the points that was being illustrated here. But from this is to really, for me, is helpful is to notice the impulses, the desires. If I'm afflicted, what's the attachment that's showing up? And then what I have found is when I've identified the biggest one, as I take care of that, a lot of the other ones don't show up so much because I recognize impermanence and what I'm chasing. I notice the labels. I notice how I'm attributing qualities to these events and people and experiences. But never let that prevent you from enjoying the heck out of what you're doing, Enjoy the heck out of it, Well, if you have the resources, travel. If you have the time and energy to, take up a new hobby. Laura's been painting. Yeah, doing that painting. Very interesting. Yeah. Yeah, do some things we enjoy. It's meaningful. Okay. Let's go ahead and dedicate the merit and wisdom from our time together here. A lot of things we could have been doing on a Wednesday night, but we made a choice to show up, explore the nature of the Dharma, ways to improve our lives and benefit others, ways to cultivate a heart and mind of compassion, wisdom. A lot of merit there. So let us dedicate any and all merit that we have cultivated from this time together and throughout our lives for the benefit of all beings. May our collective efforts find its way into the world, reducing suffering, providing the conditions for liberation. Let us also dedicate the merit and wisdom from our time together for our own continued spiritual growth, that we may ultimately recognize our own Buddha nature so we can be of greatest benefit to all. And with that context, those who would care to can join in the dedication. By this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of Guru Buddha, that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their sufferings. May the precious Bodhi mind, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore.
Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha.